So today we are going to start with a clay lion head, and we're going to be putting it on kind of like a shield, which would be this like the blue part, and then we've got the mane of the lion and the face. We're going to do this all with clay, and it's based off of Donatello's lion right here. So that's the inspiration for our project today. You're going to get a clay match. You're going to get a piece of clay. This is a slab, which is a flat piece of clay. You're going to have clay tools. You're going to have a little water cup with a little bit of slip water. And then we have these little tracers for your table. You'll get a couple each for the table, and then of course a rolling pin. Okay, so these tracers you're going to share with your classmates. So you don't need to have all three of them at one time. You just need one at a time to trace. So the first thing I'm going to do is I get mine back, and it's actually a pretty perfect thickness. It's about finger thickness, but you can see there's some texture from me rolling it. So we're just going to kind of take our roller and kind of roll a little bit. I'm not pressing hard, okay? I'm going to flip it around and then roll it again. Just a couple rolls will be more than enough, okay? And notice I always pick it up every time. And then you'll easily be able to get yours traced on here, okay? So what I do is I kind of lay the shield there, and it doesn't matter which one you're starting with. I just happen to be starting with the shield. And what I want you to notice is I'm not trying to cut it out now. I'm just drawing my shield on and tracing it with the flat edge here. Then I could pass that on to somebody else, find a spot where I want the mane, trace that lightly. I'm just going around. If it's not perfect on the edges, that's fine, because I'm going to be cutting this out. I just want to make sure I get the right size and shape on here. And I'm just going to cutting away. Got the mane, then the head. I'm just using this pencil. You could use a pencil to trace too, that works. Just want to make sure, like I said, it's light, okay? So I've traced all my three pieces because that's what I need. Now I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to take my tool. I like to find one with a straight edge, and I'm going to go straight down, okay? Maybe I get to this side. Straight down. Going down. And the reason why I want to go straight is so that when I'm cutting, I don't have like a funny edge or a sharp edge. So I'm just going straight to feel the paper, the mat board, and then all these little pieces are gonna get set aside. Then I can get this one so I don't damage my head. I might just cut a line there. And this one I like to go from the inside and out. From the inside out. Okay, it's much easier to cut that way, and you'll get a nicer edge if you do it this way as well. So I go from the inside corner out like I'm cutting little V's. And I'm just setting all my extra clay in a little pile. And I'm gonna have a lot of extra clay. You might want a little bit of clay for like at the nose if you want your lion's nose to kind of project a little bit. Or the ears, if you want a little more dramatic ear, you could totally use some extra clay for that, but you can also keep it flat. So this is gonna be a one-day project, so I'm gonna cut those out. And remember, and this one's curved, so this is what I do with curves. I kind of go straight, and I take a little bit around the ear. This is probably gonna be your hardest one, because it has curves. And don't worry, I'm not worried right now. It's not perfect. I'll show you how to kind of tidy things up. So I'm just gonna kind of cut around. It looks more angular, and that's fine. Okay, so all this clay, I have all stacked. So I've got my pieces. So now I'm gonna take my slip water, and I'm gonna make sure I kind of go around the edges here. With clay, it's really soft and it's pliable today, which means you can kind of move it around. But next time when you're in here, it's gonna be like glass because it'll be Bisqueware. So I wanna make sure I don't have anything that's really sharp and pointy. So that one's done. I'm gonna go to this one here. And I personally like to pick it up. Some people like to set it down and go around it that way. I mean, it's completely up to you how you want to. I feel like I have more control this way. Some people feel like they have more control the other way. So I want you to notice when I'm doing this, I have my fingers wet. I've been dipping it, but I don't dip it every time. I just dip it once I feel like I can't get any smoothness. So then I dip it, and I just dip my tip of my finger in there. And then I'm just rubbing it. You don't want to leave it shiny. You want to make sure that it's smooth, but that moisture, you've kind of rubbed it in. Kind of like when you have lotion on your skin, you don't leave a big clump of lotion. So I've got that one done. And then this is like the trickiest one, I think. So now, because that was kind of rough around there, so I may have to kind of push it to shape it so it's a little softer, because this is the lion's head. So I don't want it as angular as the other two pieces. So, and when you cut it, it may become a little more angular. So I'm just softening it out so it's curves like a lion would be. So I've kind of done that. I'm not too worried about making the ears perfect at this point. I just kind of smooth all my pieces out. Now, before I start assembling, I'm gonna take my initials. So my initials are BK, so these are stamped, so I wanna make sure the B I can read, and I stamp it. And the K, make sure I can read the K and set that right next to it. So I just stamped it enough to make a mark, but I didn't make a hole. I'm gonna turn it over. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna apply or add the mane, okay? So I don't wanna just stick it on there, I wanna score it. And scoring it are kind of like little X's or hashtags, and it's gonna just rough up your clay so they attach well. And you can take a little of this slurry and go over it as well. Then you wanna arrange it so it's on your shield. And then I'm gonna give it a little squish, okay? What's happening is those areas are kind of locking together. Now it should pretty much stay here because it's a medallion, but sometimes I'll take like a flat edge here and kind of smooth a few areas in. And I'm basically, it's not only smoothing, but I'm also blending them into the base. So if I just do the top and the bottom, that should be more than enough to have everything attached. But if you want to go and attach all the sides, that's fine, but we're pretty solid on here, okay? Now I'm gonna do the same thing with the head. Score it, add a little bit of my slurry, and then place that right where I want, give it a little push, locking it together, and then I'm just gonna smooth out just a little bit around the bottom. I'm just barely moving some of that clay, okay? If this is all you get, you're gonna be fine because you can paint the details on. But if you have time, then you can take your water, smooth it out. Okay, I can smooth out around here. So see how wet that is? I don't want it that wet, so I want to take that water and now I'm going to kind of smooth it out into another location so it's absorbed. Okay, you don't want to leave that water sitting on top, because if you leave it sitting on top, it's going to erode. And erosion is not a good thing ever. So you want to always rub in the water. So I can leave it like this. Like I said, I'm good to go. But I will have these on your table, and then I'll have a little visual kind of like this, that if you want to draw out the face, you can. But just know, whatever you don't do with clay, we're going to be painting, so we can certainly paint on. But if you want to, like, I can make a lion nose. So I'm going to take a little bit of clay from my side. And this is like, I guess, I'd say pea size. A little bit bigger than a pea. I'll make it pea size. I can make this like my lion's nose. Let's see. Or just go the other way. That's more cat-like. Is that right? That's how they have it. So I have my lion's nose, and just like before, I want to make sure I kind of blend. I didn't score it because it was so small, but I am going to blend this nose so it stays. And honestly, I am not going to do the eyes. I could take a tool with a round tool, make an impression where the ears would be. Totally kind of like that. Eyes I'll paint on, mouth I'll paint on. I could use this and make like little lines, some textures for the mane of the hair, all that fur. And I'm not doing anything but just kind of making an impression. So I'm pressing it down, pushing it a little bit, not a lot, and it's making kind of like that texture for the fur, okay? So you have your initials on the back, because we're all doing the lions like Donatello. And then the eyes, the mouth, those details I'm gonna add on after I've fired my clay. And then I will poke 2 little holes up here for you all so that you can hang your shield on the wall, on a door. You could even just prop it up somewhere. So I've got my little shield right here ready to go.